Hey, what's up guys, NPS3D here and obviously welcome back. In this tutorial I will show you how you can create some realistic render inside Element 3D. I will show you some of my technique and tips, how I face some issues and how I solved them, and in the end of this video you will get these types of realistic render inside Element 3D. I think let's get started. One more thing, maybe this will be a big tutorial, but believe me, it's worth it. So let me get started and stay tuned. Let's see how long we go with together. Make a new project actually, not let's make a new project, save it, and create a new comp. In this one, I'm going to use 9020 by 1080, but if you don't have too much of configuration in your system, you can go with 1280 by 720 or something lower than that. So hit OK. I'm going to work on a still frame, that's why I did not change the duration. So just right click here and go to the new solid, or just you can also press Ctrl Y. Even you can go to layer and you can create a new solid. So let's make whatever you want. So let's rename it to the E3D. It's mean Element 3D. Go to Effect and Control and press Control Space. Press Control Space. It's bring out a utility plugin from FX Console. I mean video copyright. It's FX Console. Even if you don't have this plugin, you can directly go to here, Window, and this is Effect and Preset, and this will pop up here, and you can choose from here also, right? But I have, that's why I am going to press Control Space and type Element 3D. Go to the scene setup and let's build our scene first, right? So for base I am going to use a plane, right? But first let me create the pillars. So for pillars I use some box pyramids, right? So let me adjust it, right? So I'm going to down the chamfer a little bit, right? Something around here. And the size, let me down it something like this. So 0.4 here and 0.4 here also. And in the height of Y, I'm going to choose something around 50. Let's see, it's too much higher, right? So let's type 5. Yeah, 5 is good, but I think it's too much big, so I will lower down it. I will little bit down it, something around 4. Right, even I think let's work 3. Yeah, 3 is good, right? So let's duplicate it. And just press T and scale down it. So make sure this is locked and scale it something around 95 and just down it little bit like this, right? To make a secondary pillar inside of this. So I'm going with this, right? This looks good. And if you want to lower the height, you can also do that. Also from the main one, I'm going to do 2.5. Actually we can also work later if we think it's more bigger or less bigger, right? Select both of these and put in a new group and just tag it to the pillar. I hope I write the right spelling, and again put in a new group, right? I'm doing because I'm going to do the symmetry, because once I will change one object, it will automatically change the second one, right? So select this one. Let me rename it to the main pillar. Select it and go to the symmetry mode, right? And just see which axis you want, Z or X. So in this case I want in a X direction, so just check it here and go to here and just make it a duplicate. I just drag it here. So now let's create a new plane and make sure this plane is above this main pillar, because we don't want a symmetry of this plane. Make sure this is two-sided because I want to look behind the plane also. So just check it to the two-sided plane, scale it just like this floor, right? So let's type 5 or something around 8 to something around 6.5 to make a correct dimension. That's why I'm putting. And for the height and the length, or just press it to the 7. Fine. Let's create few more things into our scene. So let me see the reference first. Alright, so this is the scene. So let me create this one, and one more thing is also here, right? So let me create first both of these. So go to the rooftop toolkit. It's a free model pack from Video Copilot, right? So I'm going to choose one of them, right? So in this one I'm going to choose this, right? Go to the normalized size, and also make sure this is optimized mesh, right? Because after this Element 3D work, we will also use particle replicator and we will replicate it, right? Make sure this is also out of the main pillar. So good. You can also make it a little bit bigger, 50. It's work good. I mean, it looks good. And from this side, I want this rooftop air dust, right? Because I only want to take this lower base of this model and I put it here, right? So let me put in a correct position, right? Let me rotate it like this, and let me scale it down to hide the cylinder, right? Something like this. Now let me create a material for our plane. So go to the procedures to metal, and let me choose which one I created. Let me hide the grid so I can see the properly. Yeah, this one. So let me go here and remove unused material because I don't want to create some setup with some messy material. So select the model. Let's decrease the glossiness to make it more glossy. So you are hearing me, right? I am decreasing the glossy amount to make it more glossy. What? It's working against the rule. Actually, I'm just joking, man. Don't take it seriously, right? Go to the glossiness here and little bit down it, right? And right now this texture is not, this plane is not reflecting, right? It's reflecting but not properly because it's not casting this pillar and this model reflection, right? So let me go to the plane and make it to the mirror surface, and now you can see this is reflecting, and I think it's looking good, right? So now the next step is making material for this both pillars also, right? So I'm going to choose one of the concrete, which I think fine for me. And one more thing, just select this box, right? Go to the UV mapping and change it to the box repeat and make it 2 by 2 to make it same for here, box repeat and 2 by 2, right? So now let's adjust the material, right? So select this box, this is above one, so I'm going to make it the yellow, right? I want yellow. Anyways, you can choose whatever color you prefer, but I'm going to choose something around the orange and yellow, right? And you can make it to the 3 or 4 something to make it a very high color. And you can also add the reflection if you want, and little bit of reflection, just a little bit, right? And for the bottom one, I want a little bit of reflection. And let me increase the environment multiplier, because environment multiplier actually what it does, right? So it's calculate information from the environment, your actual environment, right? So right now it's one single light environment. I did not apply any HDRI maps. I will apply it later. So it will take information from the environment and apply to the model, right? Right now it's 100%, but when you will increase it, it will multiply on that number, I think it makes sense, but let me show you the preview so you can understand better, right? So if I go to the environment, right, so if I choose this environment, right, or choose any of this one, right, so let me increase the environment multiplier just for this material, right? So let me put 200, right? So you can see this is working on that level. So I think looks good to me right now, right? You can also add things or do some more correction later also. So let me create the roof, right? So for the roof, what I did, I just actually copied this floor material and put on the top. But first let me create some sidewalk road also, right? So let me create a new plane, or you can also duplicate this plane, right? Right? So looks good to me. Select all these three plane and make in a separate group, just like you made all things in a separate comp, right? So just select all things and make in a new group and just rename it to the floor, right? And just press Alt and drag upward and make a copy of the material, right? If you don't want a heavy reflective material on ceiling, you can just duplicate this material and apply on above, and you can also just go here and change it according that, right? And make some air conditioner, right? And Andrew Kramer also gives us one more model. This is called a rooftop AC unit, right? So just check the normalized size and also check the optimized mesh, right? So I want this fan in our ceiling like this, right? So it's fine, right? So let me duplicate it one more time, or you can just let me put one here and second one is here, right? This looks good to me, right? And let me put outside. So now let's create some mercuries, right? Or you can also add some pipes, which is also from the video copilot, right? So let me use a different one because we are making, so why not we can just make it a different, right? So make it a normalized size and optimize mesh. Fine. So in here let me go to the mesh view and select this and uncheck it. Same for this one, right? And let me duplicate it and select this model and go to the transform. In the orientation we will just rotate it to something around 180, to make it like this, right? Even if you want, we can also hide this one. Fine. Let's create the ceiling lights, right? For the ceiling lights, what you can do, go to the motion design to beams and put this beam 18, right? Check the normalized size and optimize mesh also, and rotate it like this. And now let's go to the backlight, single lights, and choose one of these. So I'm going to choose this single light 2K20, right? And rotate highlight it, make the position of this and scale it like this. Fine. So it's a little bit different from the first one, and I think it's time to go outside the element 3D, right? So hit OK, right? So let's create a new camera, go to the 24 or 28 millimeter and just make the scene according to your choice. Ctrl S to save it. Now let's go to the element 3D and let's input our environment layer. So put this image here, right? So let me unsolo it and go to the element 3D and go to the custom layer, custom texture map, and I will choose this cold down, right? Go to the scene setup and now let's load that texture in environment layer, right? Let me switch on the environment. So now you can see this is the reflecting, right? But not all materials. So let me work on every material. So press Ctrl and select this material and select this box material. Go to the reflection mode and change it to the spherical. Same for the below, spherical, and same for the pipes also, right? So hit OK, Ctrl S to save it. Now let me duplicate it. So go to the group 1 particle replicator and go to the 3D grid, right? And just search, put 1 in Y direction, put 1 in X direction, and let me put 5 in a Z direction, and let me scale it. Ctrl S to save it. Go here, right? Ctrl S to save it. Now let me, if you want, you can also add some of the more copies. I mean, you can also increase the number of this model, but I want this, right? Go to the scene setter and let me insert the chair and some only chair, right? Only chair is left. So let me insert the chair. So I use this chair from kit based model and I saved it because I don't want to waste the time to load that, right? Hit OK, right? Ctrl S to save it. Now it looks fine, right? Let me enable the environment, right? S to scale down it, right? Scale down it and make it something like this, right? So for making a realistic render, it's depend on your lighting and some render setting, right? So in this case we light up our scene with the environment which we are using in backside, right? So now let me add some more lights to fill out the scene, right? So here you can see the highlight area. It means the sun is around here and it's light up from this side, right? So let me create one light, and this is gonna be ambient light. First let me create the ambient light, and the ambient color should be around something this hazy, right? So 14 or 35, or it's depend on the scene, right? So let me work on the 35, and if we think we can also decrease and increase it also in later. So make one more light, and this is gonna be a parallel light, and the color you can see little bit of warmer color. So go to something around the orange and make it something around 150, and make sure this is cast shadow on, right? Adjust the direction, but without shadow little bit hard to adjust the right direction of light, right? So let enable the shadow from the render setting. So go to the render setting, and here is the option shadows. So enable it and make sure this is ray trace shadows, right? So now you can see, right? So select the light and make it like this, and now you can see it's casting the shadow, but little bit it's very low, right? So here are a few things you can do to make it harder shadow. So the first one is go to the output, and here is the option for shadow. So you can put it 2, but you can see in some of the area it's more harder, right? So make it 1. Go to the physical environment, right, and make it something around 60, right? So you can see now it's working fine. And you can also play with the gamma and exposure, right? So it looks good. Hit OK, and you can also rotate the environment, right? Something like this. Control S to save it, right? So now the next step is go to the ambient occlusion and enable it, right? So here is SSAO, right? So it's little bit lower, right? It means it will not take too much of power from your CPU and GPU, right? So you can also see the setting what I do when I choose this one, right? Let me increase to something around 25 and radius something around 5 and distribution. Let me play with something around here, and contrast I put 1 actually, and gamma I also play with that, right? So around here this is my setting for the SSAO, but in this case I'm going to choose the ray traced, right? Control S to save it, and I put 1 here, and gamma something around 1 or something around 2. Maximum distance I can choose 45 or something around 80, and all things looks good to me, right? But now let me increase the parallel light, which is our basically the sunlight amount, right? So I'm going to choose 300, right? Control S to save it, and go to the NPS3D ambient occlusion once again, and here is the option for ray traced. In a ray traced ambient occlusion, here is the option for AO light influence, right? So I'm going to make it high, because when the light hits on the area there is no ambient occlusion. I think I told right. So light influence I'm going to use something around 300 or even higher, right? So you can see this area. Let me go a little bit closer. Let me switch to the higher. See here, right? Make it something around 800. You can see, or even more. Right? So here is the problem, right? You can see this shadow, this lights also casting the shadow, but we don't want, right? Because you can see here or mercury or the glowing part is casting shadow, right? So I don't want that. So let me show you how you can fix it. Go to the scene setup and select your glowing material, single light, right? Remove unused material, single light, and go very end, right? Here is the option for draw back faces. You can also check it to make it a little bit brighter, right? Here is the glow amount. You can also increase glow from here also a little bit. So here is the option invisible to AO and glow. I only want for ambient occlusion, right? Because in for glow I can make it later. I have few things to make it glow, but I remove the shadow ambient occlusion from this, right? So I will check it to the invisible to AO and glow, right? Here is one more option, AO mode on. I am going to ignore it, right? AO amount I will put 0. Few more things like cast shadow I will remove it, receive shadow I will uncheck it, right? So I think we are good to go and it's gone. Right? So delete it and just duplicate it and repeat the same process for the illumination. Glow. Change it to the additive. Let's duplicate it. Something around here. Let's duplicate it again. Something around here, right? Go to the first. Let me just rename it to the glow. Go to the first copy and let's apply some fog effect. Fog from the render setting, right? Check the color, this one, and enable the fog. Right? Something like this. So almost done. Did it wrong. Let's create a new adjustment layer and make it to the hue and saturation and increase the saturation. Right? Something around here. And if you think your pillar texture is not good, you can go to the NPS3D layer and scene setup again. And come over here and make it setting things can take more time, but in the end it will look good, right? So I think it's okay now. Okay. One more thing, go to the output section and here is few things you can do when you are going to a final render. So just check super sampling to something around 4 and multi sampling 16 and sampling and aliasing 2, smooth out the edges, and also you can go to the multi-pass mixture and play with here. So like I will play with the reflectivity something around 4, or let's leave it to the 1. Specular I will put 40. Right, now it's going fine. Right? Diffuse, you can play with the diffuse. So put 2 or just 1.4 or 1 actually. Control S to save it. Right? Let's create a new adjustment layer again and press curve. Or we can also finalize our scene a little bit later, so make it the full resolution. Right, everything is done actually, fit to our scene. Control S to save it and press Control and space and take a snapshot and come over here and put your things here, right? Make this in a new comp, right, and adjust it here. So add a adjustment layer, apply curve effect. Let me adjust it something like this. Add hue, brightness actually, brightness and contrast, and you can use according that, right? Add hue and saturation. I think this scene is little bit much, minus, actually minus 10 of the saturation or minus 5. And let's apply one more adjustment layer and type noise and make it to the 4. one more unsharp mask and fine, right? So your things can take some time, but in the end of your result, in the end of your work, it will be look good. So I hope you will get some idea how I done it and how I render my scene, right? So I hope this work, you love this work, right? Right. So thanks for tuning me till the end of the video, and if you learn something from this video, press the subscribe button and press like button, because your likes and your comments motivate me to make more stuff for you guys, right? And if you did not subscribe my channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notification whenever I upload any video on YouTube. Right? See, here are few camera angle I rendered and make that scene, right? Thanks for watching my video. Thanks for loving me. Thanks for supporting me also. I am NPS3D, and we will see you next time with a great tutorial. This is it for now.